Hi, I'm Caty Van, and I'm a student. In fact, I've only really ever been a student. With that being said, I've had quite the experience with the student-teacher relationships, the good ones and the not so good ones. School's always been a struggle for me. I lose my stuff, I make trails of messes wherever I go, and I don't always know the right thing to say or to say anything at all. Walking into 8th grade math class with Ms. Phillips, I was expecting the worst. Ms. Phillips is a blonde, bubbly, and bright teacher who's very passionate about math. I decided this could go one of two ways. She will either hate my weaknesses like losing things or making messes, or she'll appreciate my openness and vulnerability. Spoiler alert, she became one of my favorite teachers. One day, I started thinking, why her? Why is she my favorite teacher? And how can I feel this way in all of my classes? I realized it was the way she talked to me, the way she presented herself, her body language. One time in class, I remember asking a question, and she came running up, excited to answer it. Have you genuinely ever seen a teacher excited to answer one of your questions? I hadn't until I was put in her class. I wanted to make sure I was doing the equation right, and once I finally figured it out, she started celebrating me, saying things like, "You're awesome," or "I'm so proud of you." Maybe you prefer a teacher who is more strict and straightforward, but doesn't it feel good to be told that you're amazing once in a while? Ms. Phillips made me feel like she was my friend and that I could trust her. I knew that she would never pick at me or yell at me for asking questions, so I asked more. By asking questions, I was engaging in class, grasping the subject tighter, and ultimately making A's on all of my tests and quizzes. According to trained counselor and educator Megan Marcus, just one relationship with a teacher can actually change the brain's development, heal trauma, and promote learning. You might be thinking, why does this matter for me? I'm not a student, I'm not a teacher, and I don't know who Ms. Phillips is. Well, student-teacher relationships not only impact me, but they impact you. I asked my resource teacher one time why she thought student-teacher relationships were important as a parent. She said, as parents, all we want is for our child to be loved and cared for. And if their student has a close relationship with their teacher, this is more likely to happen. Having a positive relationship with just one teacher in the building can lead to so many amazing things, like increased motivation, higher academic performances, the list goes on. So, how can we ensure that we're doing our part to build these relationships with our teachers? Well, one of the best things you can do is engaging in open dialogue and answering questions. But if you're a person who doesn't really like talking in front of a class, that's okay. But make sure you let your teacher know so that you're not forced to talk in uncomfortable situations. Not only are you opening yourself up to your teacher's better understanding, but you're building trust with them as well. Ms. Phillips, after explaining the problem, would walk around the room to see where each student was. If the student wasn't very talkative, she would talk first, explain what was wrong with the problem, and provide feedback on how to solve it. And if you had already gotten the answer correct, she would give you a thumbs up or a smile to congratulate you, but in silent. Personally, this made me feel like a mathematical genius. But another thing you can do is doing your study guides and homework. And I know it's really boring, but it comes with great results. I mean, it worked for me. I have an A in math right now. Teachers, this is how your students can feel valued in your class. Instead of getting angry or annoyed at them for not understanding the lesson, try doing what Ms. Phillips would do and work with the student, not against them. A trick my mom likes to do when she notices a student struggling is asking herself, if I was that student, what would I want my teacher to do? And she would go from there. I hope all the adults in the audience will take this as a letter of encouragement to try and build relationships with even the toughest kids out there. And I encourage that all the students in the audience will try and build relationships with the teachers of the subjects that they think they don't like. I ended up loving math, even though I'd convinced myself I hated everything about it. I want to give a final shout out to Ms. Phillips for inspiring this talk and making me feel like a valued student. The last thing I want to say is, you're amazing. Thank you.